All right, our last speaker, complementary to what Eric just covered, is Eric Blank, who is the CEO and president of Community Energy. Welcome to the stage, Eric.
Again, my name's Eric Blank. I'm co-founder of Community Energy. We've developed and built 2,000 megawatts, over $3 billion worth of solar and wind, including the largest operating solar projects in the Midwest, the East, and Colorado. Our Colorado project's 120 megawatts just down by Pueblo. We bid it into an Excel process in 2013 at a price north of $60 a megawatt hour. In 2018, we bid an expansion in the Excel in Tri-State. I don't know what the winning bid is, but I can certainly tell you one losing bid, and it's under 20 bucks a megawatt hour flat. And the point is, solar is now well below the operating cost of existing coal plants, which are anywhere between 40 and 80% more expensive than new solar. And in fact, you can match the hourly generation profile of a coal plant with a mix of wind, solar, and storage, fully reimburse the utility for its unamortized investment, and still save money. Yeah, really, transformative, revolutionary. We systematically tried to model the Colorado energy system and economy to try and quantify what it looked like. And we ran 3 different scenarios. We left the coal plants operating till 2040. We did a phased retirement of the coal plants over the next 15 years, and then we retired all the coal plants by 2025. And what we found is that early retirement of the coal plants produced net present value savings of around $2.5 billion, $250 million a year, and that's in addition to fully reimbursing the utilities for their unamortized investment. The early retirement reduced CO2 emissions in the utility sector by 65% and 27% across the entire state. So just to quickly summarize, utility cost savings of $2.5 billion, $250 million a year, average utility rate reductions of 4 to 5%, emission reductions of 65%, and you're replacing the coal with a mix of wind, solar, storage, and maybe a little natural gas. So then we took it a little further, and we looked at 80% CO2 reductions in the electric sector, 90%, and 100%, and analyzed the economic impacts. What we found is that 80% was similar to 65%. It led to a 5% rate decrease. As you went up to 90%, it resulted in a 5% rate increase. And you went up to 100%, as Eric said, it got expensive. And the simple intuition why it gets expensive is in certain years, 2010, 2017, the wind just doesn't blow very much in December and January. And you need enormous amounts of solar and storage to keep the lights on during those weeks. So in our 100% scenario, we needed over 40,000 megawatts of solar, almost 15,000 megawatts of storage on a system that was somewhere between 20 and 25,000 megawatts of peak demand. And in the summer, you have the flip side of the problem, which you have so much solar, you got to curtail it, which is what that blue-gray line in that top graph is. So if you put it all together, you can actually lower costs as dollar per ton cost of reducing CO2 as you increase your percentage reductions to get to around 80%, and then it starts rising fairly steeply. Now, this is a graph of CO2 emissions in Colorado. The blue is electric, the orange is transportation, and the gray is buildings. So even if you get to 100% in electric, the transport and the buildings' CO2 emissions are still significant. So we did 2 more scenarios. We looked at a base case where the coal went through 2040. We retired the coal early and looked at electrifying buildings and transport. And what we found is that that's the way to go. If you can, by doing an integrated multi-sector approach, you can reduce statewide emissions by 70% and reduce utility rates by even more like 15%. So the key finding is you can use the savings from retiring the coal plant to fund electrification, and then electrification increases the penetration of renewables because the additional electric demands sop up the excess wind and solar and avoid curtailment. So basically, Colorado can reduce statewide emissions consistent with the statutory and scientific requirements and still significantly reduce electric rates. And in a world where the debate over climate change is tribalizing, this just seems like a critical finding. It's not like a red versus blue issue. It's just economics, right? So I think Colorado has an enormous opportunity to really change the debate on this, not make it some giant fight, and really cost-effectively decarbonize our economy. Thank you. Thank you, sir.